Yeah. Um, yeah. Where do we leave off? Oh, we're on the bottom. Maids. We left off by the two dots. Yeah. Oh, so we're talking about the machlokes between Rameh and Rabbi Yochanan hasandler. If a husband makes the extra earnings of his wife brings in, meaning there's a certain minimum amount of earnings that the wife brings into the marriage, so the basic goes to the husband. So we said in the beginning of the Mishna, if the husband makes them hekdesh, that doesn't work. However, if the extra earnings beyond what she's supposed to do, that does go. That's a machlokes. Rameir holds it doesn't work. Right? So we have a machlokes based on that, exactly what this is talking about. So let's see. How maids Rameir hekdesh. Around 10 lines up on Nun Chesam Beis. Right? So I'm Amos Kaddish. When does this start? When does it become hekdesh? Right? Rameir holds it becomes hekdesh. So when does it become hekdesh? Rav Shmuel Damri Tavayu Maiser La'achar Misa Kaddish. It becomes after Misa becomes, meaning during the lifetime, it's not going to become hekdesh. It's only after Misa. Rav Maiser Mechayim Kaddish. The extras comes from when he's alive, when she's alive. I'm sorry. Meaning whenever she earns the money, that's when it becomes. Rav Papa, so Rav Papa was clearing. What are we talking about here? What's Ilema? Let's say Ilema Mailula Mezainas Umailula Ma Kesed Litzarcha, meaning also okay. So before this, we have to say the Mishna. What is it? Samach Dalid says when it's going through the list of things that the wife has to give what the husband has to give to the wife. So one of the things is he has to feed her, and he also has to give her ma kesef. I don't know exactly how much ma kesef is, but those are the two things he has to give her. He has to give her food, and he has to give ma kesef. So now, if he doesn't give both, so then he's not doing his job. So the Gemara is asking, when he gets to keep her extra money, and he gets to make it hekdesh, according to the mayor, what are we talking about? If it's talking about where he feeds her properly, he does his job, and he also gives her the ma kesef for whatever she needs. My time in the mandam la'achar misa kaddish. What's the reason that for the mandam that says la'achar misa kaddish? Right. So why do you have to wait till it's after she dies? The money is his. He behaved himself, so the money is his. It must be talking about where he doesn't feed her and he doesn't give her the ma kesef. So then my time the one that mechayim kaddish. So why does the one that say that mechayim is kaddish? Right. So meaning mamanavsha. If he behaved himself and he fed her properly, so then it should become hekdesh right away. And if he didn't, then it should never become hekdesh. Right? So the Gemara answers, so we're talking about he does half his job. He gives her food, but he doesn't give her ma kesef. Rav Shmuel Savri, so Rav and Shmuel hold tiknu on Talmud Aleph. Now tiknu mezainas tachas ma'aseh there, u'ma kesef tachas ma'aseh. Right? Meaning, this is saying that when we had this a few lot ago, that each thing that the husband has to do with the wife and the wife has to do with the husband is represented by something else. So we're saying that the mezainas, he has to feed his wife because she is going to give him her earnings. Uma kesef tachas ma'aseh, and the ma kesef is because of the extra earnings that she brings in. And since he didn't give her ma kesef, So the extras are hers, right? So that's what Rav and Shmuel hold. So meaning he didn't give her the mal kesef. The mal kesef is represented by the extras. So therefore, if he didn't give her the mal kesef, she gets to keep the extras. They were masakin the mezainas the other way around. Food is for the extras. And the reason why he's giving ma kesef is because her earnings go to him. And since he gave her mezainas, meiser did they have? The meiser is his. So since the meiser is his, then memela he could make it hekdesh, right? So that's what it's.
What's the chiyuv? The maids is the chiyuv. The mezayin is the chiyuv.
That's
only the mezayin. What is the chiyuv deraisa?
What?
What's the chiyuv deraisa?
I'm not so sure it's anyone is a chiyuv deraisa.
From Siakov, I heard Daf today from Rabbi Blumenkranz. So I asked him. So he says this Gemara is going according to the Mandiam, and it says Sheva is not food. That is no chiyuv midaraisa. That's going according to that Mandiam.
Yeah, that's pashtus. That's what he said.
Yeah. Because I asked him the same thing I asked you. He said it's going according to the Mandam. It says it's not the rice.
Oh yeah. Okay. So that's what I think. That's the way I think. I think that's the default. I think that's the default. Yeah. But either way, so that's what the machlokes is telling you. Which one is represented by which? Meaning, is the ma kesef for the basic earnings and the mezainas for the bonus earnings, or the opposite? But my kamiflagi. So what's the pshat in the machlokes? So marsavar midi the shchiach, midi the shchiach. You learn something common from something common, right? Because the most common thing is for most husbands feed their wives, and most women do the work, the minimum amount of work at least, to give the money to the husband. So marsavar midi the kites, midi the kites. You learn something set, like a set amount from a set amount. So we're going to see in a few lines from now that there's a minimum amount that the woman has to make, meaning she can't just say, oh, yeah, I'm working, but I don't get paid. So therefore, I'm only giving you a very, very small amount of money. No, there's a minimum amount that she has to earn. So that minimum amount, it's set at 5 threads a week. So therefore, you learn that out. So ma kesef is represented by that, which is also a set amount, which is 1 ma of kesef. Mezainis is not a set amount, right? Whatever she wants to eat, I guess. I mean, there must be some set amount to it, but nobody eats the same exact amount.
Maybe she goes to Doma every day for lunch, or she doesn't hold from the VAD, she goes to 550 every day for lunch.
Right. So no, say so that right. So it's not a right. So that's but it's never a set amount. Although I thought you were going to say that she's on a diet, so she only could have 3 ounces of this, 4 ounces of that. Right. Okay. Whatever it is. So that's what we're saying is the machlek. So meisvei. So the Gemara asks similar kasha to what the Gemara had yesterday. Meisvei tiknu mezainas tachas ma'asiyah. They were masakin mezainas tachas yodeha. Right? We said that the reason why they were masakin to feed her is because it goes for ma'asiyah. So you see that the mezainas is for her earnings, not for the bonus. Ema tachas meiser ma'asiyah. Stick in the word meiser ma'asiyah. It doesn't mean for her ma'asiyah, that means for her extras. Okay, Tashema. If he doesn't give her ma kesef l'tzarchea, right? If he's not giving her that ma kesef, then her ma'asiyah is hers. So you see, ma kesef is the same. Ema meiser ma'asiyah shala. We say that the extra is for her. Okay, so the Gemara says va'ala katani, but we learned that mahi oisaloi. And we mentioned this before. What does the wife have to do for the husband? Mishkal chamesh slime shesi Yehuda. In Yehuda, she has to sew. It's not really sew. It's like maybe it is sewing. You gotta make 5 threads of shesi because you have shesi and erev. Right. So Rashi says that the shesi is harder to do than the erev. whatever that means. Yeah, meaning you have the loom, right? So you have some strings going north south, some going east west, whatever it is. So she's got to do 5 Slayim Shesed Yehuda, right? So what's the kasha? So that's her standard income that she has to do, right? So when it's saying that this is my siyadeh, so then it's for the seller. So when it answers my siyadeh kama havi, how much are her my siyadeh, the leda my siyadeh kama, so that you can know how much is her extra. Mishka chamesh slayim shesi b'Yehuda shein eser slayim b'Galil. It's 5 slayim in Yehuda, and it's considered in Galil. You need to have it's twice that. Instead of 5, it's really 10, because the seller, Rashi says, weighs double. So it's 5 in Yehuda is the same as 10 in Galil. Fine, so that's the mix. So Amar Shmuel, halacha Rabbi Yochanan hasandler. Shmuel says halacha is like Rabbi Yochanan hasandler, that when a guy makes his wife's earnings hekdesh, it doesn't work. Rabbi Meir holds it does work. Rabbi Yochanan hasandler holds it does not work. So when I asked, did Shmuel really say that the halacha is like Rabbi Yochanan hasandler? And the pshat is that it's davar shelo b'layla, right? Something that's not yet in the world, you can't make hekdesh. But Tanan, we learned in the Mishna, konam. Now konam, that's coming up on Yom Kippur, right? Konam. So a konam is a type of carb. It's like that's not a carbon. It's sort of like you're making a neder that it's like a carbon to you, and that it's also. Yeah. So meaning you can say about somebody, I am saying konam, that this guy ever eats in my house. Right. So here she said konam shani oisa leficha. That I'm making a konam. The wife is saying this. I'm making making it to like an isser, that whatever I do cannot go to your mouth. She says it about the husband. So now, can the husband be made for the neder in order to be neder from her? So ain't it tzarich lahafer? He does not have to do hataras nedarim, right? Hafer is just a way of the husband. A husband can nullify his wife's nedarim, and he doesn't have to be made for the neder. Why? Because the neder doesn't work. Because it's automatic that the stuff goes to the husband. She can't start making nedarim against what the Torah or the Rabbanon say. That's the first shita. Rabbi Kiva Aimer Yafer. Rabbi Kiva says no. He does have to be matter the neder. Shematadav alav yasem and arayla, because maybe she's gonna earn more. So if she's gonna earn more, maybe that doesn't go to the husband. So maybe that's what it would be going on. Right? Maybe he's going to divorce her, right? And then he's going to want to remarry her. Now, when he divorces her, then she starts earning money, and that money goes to her. And then he remarries her, and she might take some of that money and end up giving it to him. So therefore, and therefore he's going to end up being neder from him. So you have to do it. So there's a 3-way machlokes here. First mandamar says you don't have to be made for it at all. Rabbi Kiva says you are, because maybe they're going to get divorced and then remarried. Because she may earn more money. And Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri says because they may get divorced and get remarried. V'amar Shmuel halacha Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri. Halacha is like Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri. So you see, right? So you see that you could make something hekdesh that's not there yet. Even though we're only worried about this. When are we worried about it? Not now. We're worried about they may get divorced according to Yochanan ben Nuri and then remarried. Right? So when is that neder going to take place? It can't happen when they're married now, because it's against the Torah. So when's it going to happen? Once they get divorced. So you see somebody can make a neder even in the future and it works. So how could Shmuel pasken like Rabbi Yochanan hasandler here, who says that you can't make a neder on future earnings? So when it answers clear, he was only going on the extra money that she earns. He was not going on the base money. And on the base money, you can't do it, which is really what we said before. So then Gemara asks, and why didn't he just say that halacha is like Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri by the extra money, but not like Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri on the base money? Inami ain halacha ketanakama, or just say that halacha is not like the Tanakama, right? Inami, or he could say halacha Rabbi Kiva. Let him just say that halacha is like Rabbi Kiva. So Shmuel doesn't do this. So therefore, it must be that that's not what he's saying. It must be he's paskening straight out like a Rabbi Manuri. So Elo Amar Rabbi Yosef, Koinamos Karma, you're trying to bring rayas from Koinamos. You can't start asking kashas from Koinamos to regular hekdesh. Why? Shani Koinamos v'tosha Adam Oyser Peres Chaveri Olav Adam Makdish Davar Shalab Elodim. Konam is different because a konam is unique, where I can say, your fruits are usher to me. Right? Meaning, I can't go make your fruits into hekdesh, but I can make your fruits hekdesh to me. Meaning, I can't go, it's obviously say your fruits are hekdesh, but I could say that your fruits I'm not allowed to eat. So since a person can do that, so therefore a person can to make a konam on something that's not in the world yet. Right? Meaning the same way somebody can make a konam, which is a specific type of neder, on something that doesn't belong to him. So too he can make a konam on something that's not in this world yet. So now the Gemara goes with a bunch of kashas back and forth. We understand a person can make somebody else's fruit asur onto him, because I can also make my fruit asur for my friend to eat. Meaning the same way I can make my fruit asur on you to eat, I can make your fruit asur to me. Yes, but because of that, yes, will I be able to say that something that's not in this world yet, make it asur onto my friend? Because a person can't take somebody else's fruit and asur it onto a different friend. Meaning it's not, you can't compare davar shalab elam to this case. Right? Meaning he's answering the question with the question. What are you saying?
Why should konamos need an equivalency aspect? Why should it work because its equivalent works, therefore this should work? Is it svara to konamos?
What do you mean? You as opposed to using a different lashon?
This question, no, but I mean, it should work. Answering Peres Chaveri Allah should work because I can ask the mayan on him. Who cares? But why does it work? Because its equivalent works in the other direction. That's why it works. And if I couldn't ask my Peres on him, I could therefore not.
It seems like yes. Yes, it seems like it's a connection.
Right, that's what I'm asking. But I can answer his Peres on me because I'm viewing them like a carbon, just like it's also for me to use a carbon. So it's also for me to use his Peres, but not because I can answer my Peres on him.
Right, and I can't say I understand exactly. I don't know. I'm not sure. It seems like that there is some sort of connection for it. Right, but we're going to have the back and forth now. Everybody comparing different scenarios of exactly when you can be makdish things, when you can't be makdish things. Right? Okay. The kasha here he's saying is that you can't say that a friend can go be makdish something of a friend's on a different friend. Right? And he's trying to equate that with being makdish something that's davar shalab elolam. Yeah. Amud Beis is a whole lot more interesting after the Mishna. So let's all right. Okay. Hello, Rav Huna Breder Rav. Okay, so Rav Huna Rav says different terms. By Meres, Yikachu Yodei Lo Yisayim. When Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri was saying that the wife, she can go say on her husband that he can't get anything, that's where she mamish makes her hands hekdesh. She's not making, we had this on yesterday's daf also, right? She's making her hands hekdesh. She's not making her actual, what she produces hekdesh. So Yadayim isnu ba'olam. Because the hands are in the world already. They're not, the hands are here. So she's sort of making her hands hekdesh. So Gemara asks, right? If she says this, can she really make her hands into hekdesh? Her hands belong to her husband. Right? Meaning her hands are no longer her own once she gets married. So how does she go make something hekdesh if it doesn't belong to her? So the Gemara answers, she says, no, my hands are going to be hekdesh when I get divorced. So the Gemara asks, is it such a thing as right now it's not kodesh, and in the future it's going to become kodesh? So Gemara says, yeah, why not? Amar Rabbi Eloi, Alam Eloi. Why not? A person could tell somebody that I'm selling you a field, but when I buy it back from you, it's becoming hekdesh. Miloi kachas and not hekdesh, because right now the field is not hekdesh. The guy's saying, but in the future, when I buy it back, it's going to become hekdesh, and then it will become hekdesh. So masculine of Yiriyah, mi dami, is it similar? Hasam biyadei lakdisha. There, he has the koyach to be makdish it, because it's his field right now. He didn't sell it yet. He's saying, again, I'm selling you this field. When I buy it back from you, it's going to become hekdesh. Here, he does not have it's not in her hand to be megarish herself. She doesn't know if she's going to get divorced at all. It's all in the man's hand. This is a case to a similar case that somebody who says to his friend, this field that I already sold to you, when I take it from you, it's going to become a kedushas. The like kitcha, right? So it didn't become that's not going to become kedushas, right? Meaning here she's already married. She doesn't know if she's ever going to get divorced. How can she say that in the future when I get divorced, then my hands become hekdesh? That's the equivalent of a guy saying that he's making the field that he already owns into hekdesh, which is not going to work. So Maskal Rapapa asks, meaning we keep answering questions with questions. So Maskal Rapapa, so Rapapa asked the kasha, midami, is it similar? Hasam gufo peris biyadu lekeya. By the case of Yirmiyah, the guf and the peris are already in the guy who bought the land. Hacha gufa biyadahu. Her own guf is in her hands. Right? Meaning she made it hekdesh. Meaning, and so therefore what? It's only similar to a different case. It's similar to a case if somebody tells his friend, on time of days now, the field that I made as a mashkin to you, right? Meaning a guy borrowed money and he uses the field as a mashkin. When I'm going to redeem it from you, meaning when I'm going to pay you back and therefore get back my field, that's going to be hekdesh. The kedushas, so that is hekdesh, right? So that's his teretz by saying that would be the similar case. So then Maskal Rav Shisha Breder Rav Idi asks, "Midami, is that case similar?" There, he can be paid whenever he wants, meaning he borrowed money. If he decides to pay back the money, even if he wants to pay back the loan early, he gets back his field. So there, he has some power over it. It's not in her control to divorce herself. So then what would the case be? This case would be similar to a case where somebody tells his friend, if I gave you a field for 10 years, when I'm going to redeem it from you, it's going to become hekdesh to kedushas. So then that's hekdesh. Right? Meaning he can't, right now he wrote in the loan, it's a 10-year loan, right? So therefore the guy could say, you can't pay me back early, I'm using your field for 10 years. And it's not biyada. So that would be the same thing as marriage. Fine. So then Maskaf Rav Ashi, bidami. Is that case similar? In 10 years he knows he's going to be able to get back his field. But She doesn't know in 10 years from now. She could try and make the husband's life miserable that he'll divorce her in 10 years, but at the bottom line is she has no idea if she could. So who says that she would have that power? So basically, after all this, all these questions back and forth on each other, we don't have any good shot of why she'd be able to make her hands hekdesh. You're trying to bring kashas from konam, shana konam is the kedushas haguf. No, a konam is a kedushas haguf, right? Sort of like where the actual thing becomes hekdesh. Ukedarava, damarava, hekdesh chametz. If somebody, hekdesh. If somebody makes something hekdesh, chametz or chametz, shichrur, and freeing a slave, mafkir midei shibud, takes you out of a shibud, and therefore, meaning these are a few unique cases. Somebody basically borrows money, and then instead of and he borrows it, and he gives either his ox or a eved or his chametz, right, as a collateral. Then he goes and he makes it hekdesh, any one of these three things. So then that takes out the shibud from now, and that's it. It makes it into whatever it is that he did with it, right? So therefore, so we're saying that's how strong the kedusha. That's how strong the kedusha is. Yeah, fine. So then was it v'nikdeshu mehashta? So then, if that's the case, let him make it hekdesh right now. Right? Meaning, why are we saying that it only becomes hekdesh after they get divorced? It should become hekdesh right now. If it takes you out of the shibud. So when it answers Amud Rabbanan l'shibudei debal, the Rabbanan made, from the word Amud means strong. The Rabbanan made the shibud of the Baal very strong, so that she won't do this type of thing. Meaning, we're saying that the Baal owns her so strongly that it's not considered like a loan. It's considered like he actually owns his wife's hands. So therefore, she cannot have power to make it hekdesh right now. Mashenke, in the other cases of hekdesh, chametz and shichrur by the eved, those cases they would have the power to make it into hekdesh, right? Yes. Okay. I hope that was semi-clear. It's a hard. It's not a much a Shabbos thing. Don't worry. It's not a cholent thing. It's not a post cholent thing. That was not an easy Gemara. I can't say that I fully or even partially understand it. But okay. Now we get into the more fun stuff. Okay. These next few blot are much easier. So Zog the Mishna. These are the malachas, right? Everybody listen up now, because this is you could have good kindness. Yeah, these are the malachas that a wife has to do for her husband. Right? That's what we've been talking about with kesubas. What he's meshubah to do for her and what she's meshubah to do for him. So these are the things that she has to do. Toichenes, she has to grind. For oifa, she has to bake. Peretz, I don't know what you can do with that one. Umechabeses, and she has to do laundry. Mivashela, she has to cook. It doesn't say barbecue, it says cook. Cooking is with not barbecue, right? Umenika is bena, and she has to nurse the baby, right? Oh, matzas loyamita, she's got to make the beds. Va'isa b'tzemer, and she has to work with wool, right? I'm assuming that means like clothing. Fine, those are the things. What is that? 7 things? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
How many of them are done by the cleaning lady nowadays?
Oh, Peretz, you mamash mechavan to the next line. Hechnisa lo shivcha achas.
Hold on, can I ask you, Shalom, what umenikas bena? What does that mean?
She has to nurse the baby.
I understand. What, she has to starve him? I'm not.
What?
No, basically
He's
the
not
Gemara
allowed
is
to
saying
hire
don't
a
use
wet
formula.
nurse.
She has to nurse the baby herself.
What does that mean?
She's not allowed to hire a wet nurse.
Why not?
It's up to him, not her.
They did that for Moshe Rabbeinu, no?
What?
Well, that was to save his life.
Right.
Mishnah was written after Moshe.
That's true. But it's saying there wasn't a lechatchila.
You deduct the cleaning help from the kesuba?
But they hired his mother
We're
for
gonna
a wet
see.
nurse.
We're gonna see.
What? His
By
mother
Moshe Rabbeinu.
nursed him. What are you talking
Yeah, his
about? That's
mother
exactly
nursed
what
him.
happened.
Well, but it wasn't. They didn't know it was the mother. You mean they didn't know who it was? That's what you're saying.
Well, Maisa was his mother. She did her
Yeah, but you
job.
can't
Well,
bring a
hold on.
question
You
from
having
that
kindness of
situation.
Para's daughter? That's what you're
I
saying?
don't understand.
Yeah, Zev's having time
What
as
kind
a
of question is
daughter.
that?
But even the timers don't work because his mother nursed him.
The Wizard of Iron. Why isn't he yelling at him for that?
He's muted. Remind
It's only.
If anyone else said that, they get the head chopped off.
Liner, behave yourself, because I'll take care of
I'm
your
behaving.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know what you bring rayas. It's quite the matan Torah, new shine. Okay, let's. Right. So, whatever it is, those are the 7 things that she has to do. But let's say now this is interesting lashon here. I don't know what to make with this diak. She brings him.
So Gershon is saying she can't have a wet nurse. Can she have formula Gershon if she wants, or she can't do anything other than nurse?
Everyone
No.
attacked Aaron, so now he's going to get on the defensive.
It's good to hear from
I
you.
was the only one that didn't.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think formula was mutter back then.
We're
It's
talking
one of the
now.
jobs she
Bisman
has to
Hazeh.
do.
We're talking
No.
Bisman Hazeh. We're not talking about it in the time of the Mishna. We're talking Bisman
Yeah,
Hazeh.
but I think
Does she have to nurse? Does she have to nurse the baby? Bisman Hazeh.
Ba'atzam, yeah. Ba'atzam, yeah. Meikra din, probably yes. But Lamaisa, this Mishnah pretty much fell out of the spheres of Halacha.
Well, we're gonna have to see over the next couple of blocks. It's gonna come up.
Yeah, for one reason or another.
Also,
this Mishnah's not
Mustama,
Halacha
most
Lamaisa
people
today.
using formula are doing it for reasons not Stamas like because they're lazy. Either it's the wife who can't hack it, or the baby needs more than just what the mother can do.
Yeah,
Nobody
but
said they're
parrots,
lazy.
the
Nobody
parrots,
said that.
it's a big chesaron from the man's perspective if they use formula, because if she nurses, the baby gets up 3 a.m., the husband said, hey, I can't do anything, you got to get the baby, right? If it's formula, then she's like, you feed him. No?
100%.
Also, usually there's silik damim.
Well, that's if that happens, then there's there's nothing you could do about that, right? If she stops, yeah.
Brings down a Yerushalmi here that he has to nurse her child, not his from a different marriage.
Yeah, okay.
But she right. It's only out. It's the.
But that surprises you? Why would that line surprise you?
I'm not surprised. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, that's interesting because you think she's his wife. She's
I
got to do.
could have pasken that. You don't need to Yerushalmi for that. You don't need to know him from the Yerushalmi for that.
Well,
I'm
you
not
could
quite
say
sure what
that.
the case is.
What do you mean?
case?
She has certain.
Oh, you
No,
could say
he-
that.
he-
You could
he-
say
he-
that she's responsible for another woman's child if she's his wife. That's part of the kesuba. That's what he's buying. She's responsible to nurse.
How many wives do you have? What are you talking about?
Back then, you can hear the other side. There is a
I can't hear the
possibility.
other side. I can hear the other side 0. A big fat F's.
If
Okay.
someone else said it, then you would be able to hear it.
It's good that
Liner-
Aaron's unmuted. It's good that
Liner,
Aaron's
that's-
unmuted.
That's what you get for starting up with me.
Okay. At least
Take
Balaam
this
woke
track.
up from the previous Gemara.
This might be the history of the daf that Rav Aaron is defending his son-in-law.
Yeah.
This shows the power of liner.
Yeah. Anyways, okay. So the point is that no. So the next line in the Mishnah, Hichnisa loy shivcha achas. She brings him a shivcha, not herself, him. Right? Usually you think that the cleaning lady is there to help the wife. Here, the lashon of the Mishnah is Hichnisa loy. She brings it in for him. Okay, so loy techen.
Nichsei milug, no?
I guess, yeah. The chora means she comes
If
with it.
he gets her a shivcha, there's no hekdesh. Of course, the purpose of him getting it is for her to do less work. The hekdesh is that even when she brings in a shivcha, it's not for him to say, "Oh, the shivcha should do that. You still have to do my jobs."
Right. No, in konam.
I think in the Mishna he says her father sent the shift over.
Right. That's nixay milug. Nixay milug. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but bottom line is that she's a little bit more putter. She's a little bit more putter from that. Let's see. Because now she has somebody to do the work, right? So she doesn't have to grind. She doesn't have to bake. She doesn't have to. She doesn't have to do laundry. Let's say she comes with 2 servants. She doesn't have to cook. She doesn't have to nurse. She can use them to nurse.
That's a riot to me against Aaron right there.
Why?
Because she's giving it over to a maidservant. I mean,
correct.
He bought certain rights.
Well, he didn't bring it. She brought in.
She brought in, but he bought certain rights by kesuba, nursing the child. Doesn't mean it has to be her child right here. She gives it over. She gives that over.
Yeah. Fair point. Yeah. Shalosh. Let's say she brings in 3. Ein matzas lo yamita ve'ein oisa b'tzemer. She doesn't have to make the beds, and she doesn't have to work with wool. Arba. She brings in 4. Then yesheves b'kadatra. She sits on a chair and
Eats bonbons. Yeah.
Basically, Rashi says she doesn't. She doesn't even have to get anything. He does. Meaning, if he asks her, "Hey, can you get me a drink?" Nope. The way Rashi says it, she doesn't have to bring anything upstairs even. Right? He went to sleep early. He says, "Hey, you mind bringing me a drink?" She goes, "No, I brought you in 4 shiksas, right, to work. I don't have to do anything for you." Right? But that's a Tanakama. Rabbi Eliezer Omer, afilu echnisa lo 100 shivchas. Even if she comes with 100 shivchas, kaifa lasas b'tzemer, we force her to at least do the wool. Why? Shabbatala mevi'li tezima. Because if she's going to sit around and do nothing, then it's going to end up that she's going to be bored and she's going to end up being promiscuous. Why he picks that bedafka, I don't know. Shem Gamliel Omer, he's even stronger. Afa mader es ishte milases melacha. Even if a guy makes a neder that his wife is not going to do work, meaning he's such a romantic guy, he says, I'm going to make a neder, you don't have to do any work at all. Yaitzi be'itin kesuba. He has to divorce her, but he has to still give her the kesuba. Because batala is going to bring you to craziness. Right? The famous, right, when the Mishnah Guru brings this also. I forgot, it was in the beginning about always keeping yourself occupied, right? But I'm not sure why. We'll have to see. We're going to see in the Gemara what the difference is here, but why is it so stark that they have to get divorced? He makes a neder on his wife, and they're supposed to get divorced because they have to get divorced because she has to do work for him. I mean, that the technical says they have to get divorced because she has to do work for him, and he made a neder not to, right? So Mamela, she can't do any work for him, but it's going to be terrible. It's going to have terrible, repercussions. So therefore, it's not a good setup. Okay, we'll see in the Gemara the differences between those two. Fine. So the Gemara says, do you really mean that a wife grinds? I don't know if anybody here was zeicha to use a hand grinder. Those are not easy things to do. I never did it either, but I know guys that used to do it in Eretz Yisrael for the matzah, for the wheat, and it ain't an easy job, right? It's done usually. So Rashi says it's done with water, right? Not a woman. Yeah.
No, one of my uncles told me how he used to go. Zevi's son, who's in the army now, he used to go Beinas Durham. He used to run over to a bakery and make a few shekels. He would do that every Beinas Durham. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's where they used to go, Beinas Durham, and go do this thing. Anyway, so what it means is she hacks about the grinding, right? Meaning she's involved in it, but she doesn't do the actual grinding. She has a little hand grinder. So that she does do. So when it says Mastis and the Laker of Chia, our Mishna is not like Reb Chia, the Tanner of Chia ain't.
So the ladies, I'm sorry.
Yeah, what are you saying?
The ladies can be oits now. They have the little pepper ones, the 3-inch, the 3-inch pepper thing.
It's funny, when I went shopping for Shabbos, my wife asked me to buy one of those. I
Oh,
couldn't find. Maybe that's pshat. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, so Masis is like a Reb Chia. The Tani Reb Chia ain't isha elu liyofi. How's this one? Okay. The Mishna is not like Reb Chia. So Reb Chia says a woman is only for her looks, right? So therefore, she doesn't have to do any work. Ain't isha elu lebanim, and a wife is only to have kids. Your wife is not there to do your household chores. She's there for her beauty, to look pretty, and to have your kids. The Tani Reb Chia. Ein Isha, which is interesting because throughout Bereshis we see that they had two wives, one to have the kids and one for the Yoifi. So somehow something got lost here where she's for Yoifi and having the kids. Okay, right? Like I always say, our door is a good door. The Tani Reb Chia, Ein Isha ela l'tachshite Isha. A woman is only for her for a tachshitim. Right? So what does that mean? She's supposed to have jewelry. Yeah. So the Tani Reb Chia haraitza shi'adin is ishta, and if somebody wants to be ma'adin his wife, right, her beauty, yal bishena kli pishtar, right, he should give her linen clothing. I guess that was nice clothing. Haraitza shi'adin is pita. If somebody wants to make his daughters white, back then white was prettier than tanned. Yachilena efraichim. They should feed the girls efraichim, right? Efraich is like little birds, young birds, v'yashkena chalav, and give them milk, samach lepirka, before they become to the mature, right? So you see that's what women are for. They're not there to be doing your housework. Fine. Minika espana, and she's supposed to nurse his son. Lema mastis like a beshamay. Let's say our Mishna is not like beshamay. The Tanya. If she makes a neder, she's not nursing his kid, right? So you remove the breasts from his mouth. Yeah, she has to stop. So if that's the case, you see that there's no shibud, right? Beishamay holds clearly, because if there's a real shibud for the wife to nurse the baby, she can't make a neder against halacha. No, we force her to nurse, meaning the neder doesn't work because the neder is against the Torah. Niskarsha, but if she is already divorced in a kaifa, then he can't because she's no longer meshubed. Bimhaya makira, but if the baby recognizes the mother and the wet nurse, it's not working, right? Rashi says the baby recognizes the mother, the divorced mother, and he only wants the nurse on the divorced mother. You pay her and you force her to nurse, because otherwise it's a sakana. Whatever it is, you see from this that Beishamay holds that there is no chiyuv to nurse. Otherwise, her neder won't work. So when it answers the filotem Beishamay, she made the neder, and the husband was mekayim it. Meaning, we said the husband always has the right to nullify it, but he was mekayim it.
Well, I'm not understanding. She could starve her child. Saying, what are we saying here?
No, she'll get somebody else to nurse the baby. She's going to get somebody else. Now, what's going to happen if somebody else doesn't want to do it? Then yes. I mean, the Gemara said it by where they got divorced, but the same thing would apply if they're married, even according to Beishamay. You're not going to let the baby die.
She has a chiyuv to feed this child just as much as he does.
Well, that's no, it's his child. It's his child. The way it works in Yiddishkeit, it's his child, not her child, even though she had the baby. The baby belongs to him. It's his chiyuv to feed the baby.
Wait a minute, it's not her child. It's his chiyuv to feed the baby. She's allowed to starve her?
It says bina, not bino.
What?
Bina. It says
no, I think that means her, meaning she's the one that had the baby, as opposed to bringing, like you said, she had the baby, but he has control of this child.
What do you mean? She has a chiyuv to. She has what? Sakaris Nefesh. She does not. She's potter. She's allowed to starve this child. He has a chiyuv to support.
It's not as opposed to starving. It's as opposed to someone else feeding him.
Right.
No one's starving any children here.
Well, they are, but you got to find somebody else to feed it. If you can't,
Well, yeah.
It says that the husband has to pay her.
That's if she won't eat from if the child won't eat from anyone but the mother, and the mother made a neder, she's not going to feed him. In which case, now it's
The mother made
what?
the neder. We listened to that neder. She's making neder to kill her child.
no, you're gonna find somebody
no.
else.
Somebody else.
She's gonna have to find a wet nurse, right?
And he has to pay for the wet nurse.
L'chayra, it's his baby.
No, that's when the wet nurse didn't work out. Then you pay the mother as a wet nurse.
Oh, that, yeah, but the bottom line,
that line. Yeah.
He has to pay the mother not to kill her child.
once they're divorced, yes.
Well, why? She doesn't have a chiyuv on this child either?
He has to pay his ex-wife to feed his son.
She does have a
That's-
chiyuv.
that's
Like
what-
any
She doesn't
baby.
have a she doesn't have a chiyuv to feed her own son.
The
She's
baby's
older.
in his house. She moved to Pittsburgh and he lives in Toronto with the baby.
Listen.
It has nothing to do with her anymore. He got the divorce. He won the divorce settlement. She's
Where's
out
the
of the
kid?
house. She's out of the picture.
There's a
Yes.
note in Art Scroll. There's a note in
Yeah.
Art Scroll that quotes the Ritva that says she's making a neder that he won't benefit from her nursing. It's about the husband not benefiting from her nursing. So maybe by him paying her, he gets rid of his benefit.
It takes away the benefit. Yeah, I hear that. Right, that makes
So
sense.
it's not about him starving. It's not about her starving her kid. It's about him benefiting from her.
Right, no, I hear that. No, I think
Uh,
right, so that makes sense. But the question is, let's say he refuses to pay her. Does she have a chiyuv to nurse this baby? I think Zev L'chayri is right. I mean, it's
Yes, she does.
anybody else, everybody has a chiyuv to try and save a baby.
Right. So what do you mean he
Correct.
has to?
No,
What do
but
you
he,
mean
has to, he
what do
still
you
has
mean he
to
has to
pay.
pay?
He has to pay.
He has to pay her?
Yes.
He's divorced from her. It's her
It's-
child like it's
it's-
his child.
No, it's his child.
He has to
It's
pay
her.
child support.
Yes, it's his child. It's his child, therefore he has to pay for her to nurse that child. Yes.
Is it her child too?
No, the child belongs to him. That's the way it is.
Have I noticed? It's hard to understand because there's no divorced couples in Darkey, but there's certain places where there's divorced couples around.
Yeah, so I'm saying it's what do you call it? That's the way it goes. The husband has control over the kid. That's the bottom line. That is the bottom line. Anyways, so he has to pay her. Either way, whatever it is, you see from this that Beis Shammai holds that that she is not mechuyev to feed the baby. So not like our Mishnah, right? So the Gemara answers, "Afilu ten Beis Shammai." You can even say our Mishnah is like Beis Shammai. Hacham ma'askinan, kan shenadri hi v'kayim lahu. She makes a neder, and he was mekayim it. He says, "I'm with you." Because our Beis Shammai, who knows the neder ben shina? We had this lashon a few blot ago. He put his finger. I'm sorry. He put her finger between her teeth, meaning even though she made the neder, but since he was mekayim the neder, so it's his fault. So it's a problem. It's Hillel Savri. He nos neder ben shina. She's the one to put the finger into between her teeth. So therefore, she's not allowed to make the neder. So Gemara asks, "V'niflagu b'kesuba ba'alma." If that's the machlokes, and then why don't we just say the machlokes is about the kesuba, right? Tanya Beis Shammai erim eina menika. We learned the brisa that says that Beis Shammai says that he says straight out in a regular standard case. If a wife, Rashi says eina menika eina right. If he does not want a nurse, he doesn't have. If she does not want a nurse, he doesn't have to. So clearly, since the brisa says the Ferish that Beis Shammai says that she does not have to nurse the baby, so our Mishnah is not going like Beis Shammai. Right?
I punked here. Does the Gemara want to fit
We'll
Beis Shammai
stop here.
into our
We'll
Mishnah?
stop here for those that want to log off. Yeah. No, a good fuck.
Good luck.
Now Gershon doesn't have a question anymore.
No, until here, so far in shots, every time we've had a question like this about Beis Shammai, the Gemara said, Beis Shammai, b'makim, whatever, ain't a Mishnah. Here, all of a sudden, the Gemara entertains the kasha.
No,
Why do we
it's
want
not
to
a
fit Beis
kasha,
Shammai
it's
into
not
the
a
Mishnah?
kasha.
Whatever it is. Well, why do we care whether Beis Shammai fits into the Mishnah or not? Just say, okay, fine, it's not the Mishnah. The Mishnah's not like Beis Shammai. The Gemara
Yeah,
tries
just
to fit it in.
no, because I guess he wants the Mishnah. It wants to tell you that it's not pashut that everybody holds that a wife has to nurse a baby for the husband. I mean, Beis Shammai is a player. You know what I mean? You can't just.
But that's what I'm saying. But every other time, the Gemara, we had the sentence.
We say we don't care.
Ain't a Mishnah.
Psak wise, we
No,
don't.
ain't
We
a
don't
Mishnah is
care.
more than just psak-wise.
What do you mean?
Ain't a Mishnah is not just we don't pasken like Beis Shammai. The Shammai doesn't exist b'makim b'Yisrael.
I understand, but it still makes a difference that there's a shita out there, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
I don't know. We've had other Gemaras like this that just, what are you asking? Like, okay, it's Beis Shammai, so what?
It's not. It's just trying to tell you that it's not a pasha the thing that the chaladeis.
Because an Eina Mishnah holds not like this. That's what I'm saying. If elsewhere we'd say Eina Mishnah, we tried to say that, okay, there's a shita called Beis Shammai that's not a shita that holds not like the Mishnah.
Correct. Yeah.
It's not much of a riot to anything.
I don't understand what's so schwer.
I hear, okay.
It's just saying that there are shitas that hold. That's not that a woman does not have to necessarily nurse, right?
I hear, okay.
I don't
And
know.
in the first part of tonight's stuff with the Eina Yochel Legarsha, I figured she was doing quite a good job with Yochel Legarsha Asatzma. Making all these nedarim. I think in any normal marriage, that would pretty much make him divorce her.
Well, I mean, yeah, okay, listen, we've had Gemaras before where she's trying to finagle it, or he's
Yeah.
gonna
I would say that in this case, she's quite close to Yochel Legarsha.
yeah,
I
I would
if anything, have added that to Rav Papa's kasha.
I would think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Pirates, I waited till after for you.
Yeah, sure.
What? I just asked on before the Mishnah. I was
Now,
gonna say before.
you waited to the last, once you started, Shkoyach.